Here we go then. So we have got, I'm joining the GTR club for their GTR's 12 Races of Christmas. This is a countryside tour, as you can see by the graphic on the top right. It's a ZRS race, multiple categories. I'm in the 350 to 520. You can see it's 10 miles distance, so a shortish race. You've got one big climb that starts probably a third into the race with gentle ascent and then gets progressively steeper. And then, strangely, there's, well, the descent right to the finish. And it is a flat finish, but it's pretty much a descent until you get to the sprint. So, interesting course. You've got A riders, B riders, C, D, and everybody in this mix, 101 riders. Now, the strange thing, I've got the heart monitor on top left because I needed that for this particular race, so I've got that on. And yeah, I'm eagerly anticipating this race. Short and sweet and fast. So I suspect, my objective to increase my ZRS. That's made a little bit more difficult here because obviously in this 101, there's no clear indication, unless you go into the app and look at each individual, what category they're racing in. So, I mean, the tactic has to be to stay at the front with the A riders and strangely hope you're beating all of your ZRS category riders. So a bit of an anomaly there, unless you know all the individuals or have done the research to find out what ZRS category in. So that was a bit of a surprise. But here we go. I'm sat right in the draft here, right at the front-ish of the group, getting maximum draft. 9 miles to go. It was interesting to see. I guess the question is, when we get onto that climb, how quick are these A riders going to go? Can I keep up with them? And as always with these types of races, you need to be going over the crest with the front riders to draft with them on the descent. And you can imagine they go pretty quick on that descent and will push hard and start really pushing with 5k to go. I'm guessing the descent is probably 7 miles ish. And you've got a 2.5 mile descent and then a sprint. Let's see. So I've got an aero, which I might need depending on these A riders. There is another banner coming up, so I will be using that. And I'm pretty comfortable here. It's not a stretch at the moment. So it'll be very interesting to see when they start pushing and attacking these A riders because, I'm out of my depth there. I'm not used to the racecraft of A riders. I'm guessing they're going to push before the climb, certainly on the start of the climb. Let's see, and I need to hang on and hold on up the elevation, up the ascent. So pretty comfortable, 1.5 miles in. 185 calories. Having said that, I've done a good 12 to 15 minutes warm up. It's freezing in the UK today, absolutely freezing. Good once you warmed up, but I definitely needed another layer on until I got warmed up. It is freezing. Averaging 234, so nothing spectacular here. 15th gear, 155 beats a minute. Quite an ordinary start. Keeping my own. 8 miles to the finish almost. There we go, 4.5 minutes complete. The countryside tour. So it is the rolling hills basically. As I said, I've just joined the GTR team for this. Somebody's gone off there. I'm going to need to press on here. otherwise that lead pack is going to get away from me, so I'll just creep up into that lead pack again. I've seen the GTR 12 races of Christmas. I think they've been going on a week or two now, and I've wanted to have a go at one of these and found a bit of time today. You can see some of the riders been dropped off the back there, and it is splitting. There seems to be a bit of a push here. So the front right, I've just used the aero boost there. These front riders are getting on with things now. I'm in a good position there, 7.5 miles to go. Still under 50 feet climbed. I suspect we'll get to the barrier, then that'll be the start of the climb. That would make sense. 6 minutes gone. Cruising at 29 miles an hour. Nicely in the draft there. Now I do recognise a couple of the names from previous races, so I know they would be in my category, but beyond that I've no idea of the capability of this group around me here. We're going to soon find out. It's going up to a little 2% there. I suspect it'll be 2-3%, and then there's a little kink before it, I'm guessing, goes a bit orange and dark orange, perhaps over 5%, 8% to the crest. And then it's pretty consistent downhill all the way. There is a little flat bit on the back end of that descent. You see some of the riders here pushing hard to get to that banner, which has split the pack open. You can see they are red dots on the top right, indicating A riders, which is no surprise. I need to keep in as much as I can here, because it looks like some have gone off. They've used the banner as the indicator. I'm struggling to stay with here. It's suddenly exploded into life, this race. I'm having to do over 350 watts, and I've still been dropped from these front A riders. There's a green B rider in the midst of that, and there's one just in front of me. Here we go. You can see the graphic indicating we're going to go on a climb. Now I've got to apply the usual tactics I do, try and get over 320 watts. Those A riders have gone off though. Yeah, I'm warmed up, let's put it that way. People are coming through here, so I need to be careful. I'm not sure how many were in the top group. I think of the 101 there's probably 25, 35. I'm finding it difficult to stay with here. I'm not going to use my feather. Somebody's used the feather in the draft. Here, let's stand up on here on the 5%, get back into this lead pack, or as much or close as I can do, but that's going to burn a lot of my matches. They're going at a hell of a rate up here. If I can just get into the back of them, then there's a blue bit here I can perhaps recover. But it's the sitting down. I'm in a good position there. There is an A rider that's attacked right off the front, but they're keeping this relentless. I'm having to do 400 watts, and I've got some draft, a really good draft, and they're pulling away. 6 miles to go, just over 9 minutes done. Bit of a reprieve there. You can see I'm probably 3/4 to the back of this whole pack. There's B riders behind me, and there's B riders in front of me. But I'm finding it quite a struggle. I was quite surprised here. And this is the very start of the climb. So I'm kind of in this, I want to say, third group. You can see there's a lead race, there's the middle pack there, 4 or 5 riders, and then there's this other group I'm with here. There's clearly some B riders up in the front pack, fair play. I'm not going to be catching those anytime soon, and if they maintain this over the crest, I'm not going to be able to live with that. You see, I'm having to stand up just to keep my position here, and we're not reining that second group in anytime soon. They're gone now. On something like this with that climb to go, you can't be attempting to, well, I can't be putting 500 watts in. I'll have no chance of getting to the top in this group. So I'll sit with this group of 4 or 5 here, and they're my category. Well, they're B category. They could be a group higher, ZRS higher, or they could be my group. I'm averaging 268, so I'm putting a decent effort in, decent shift in here. 5.2 miles to go, over 11 minutes, almost 200 feet climbed. Just on a flat part here. And here we go on these long, annoying 3.5 percenters, which I've got to keep it over 320 watts. Anything less and I'll be out of the back of this group. You can see the front group now, or that second group are 12, 13 seconds ahead. Sorry, 7 or 8 seconds ahead. Front group 13 seconds ahead. But there's no chance of catching them. There's too much of a climb here. And on these climbs, you've got to pace yourself to an extent. And we've got, it looks like, a couple of really steep parts. There's one steep part, then a little flat recovery, then there's another steep part to the summit. I'm all right here. Seemingly everybody else, similar pace. Yeah, the front group, and then you've got 4 riders in that second group who are 8 seconds ahead of the group I'm in. So I need to get to the top of this crest in this group and see where we go from there. Again, I've no idea how many. You can see the green dots are B riders, but they could, be in the 5, 10 to 650 category. Is that still a B category? Is it classed as a B category? Let me look on the companion app now. Let's have a look. 520 to 690. Yeah, and if I'll have a look at one of the riders in there, he is Canadian male, 543 ZRS, and he's in pace group B, so that is still classed as a B category. Not sure whether you can get A category riders in that. That'd be advanced B for me. Far stronger than I am at climbing and sprinting. So here we go. We're approaching a bit more significant gradient. 4.3 miles to go, so it's absolutely short and fast. I'm almost 270 average here. Approaching an average of 169 beats per minute there. Not an average, that's just a current. That front group is still only 8 seconds ahead, but I think the group ahead of, well ahead, they're well gone, they're probably 30 seconds ahead there. Stand up on the orange, but you can see there's a lot of orange, so I can't employ that tactic. The yellow, you see, I struggle when I sit back down. I just can't keep the power through the legs. I always struggle with that. So this makes it very difficult in respect, I need to be stood up, but you can't stand up for that amount of time. The watt differential to what I can do when I'm sat down, it could be 150 watts difference. Oh, the two riders ahead, we're going to absorb those if I can continue in here. You can just see them there. This pack, this hill has split everybody. Just look at that on the top right. It's all over the place. And I'm getting dropped here. There's multiple groups. My average is 274. And we've done 15.5 minutes. I'm not hanging about here. And look, there's still a significant climb to go. I found this very, very difficult. Again, I'm not going to use the feather yet. I know that individual behind me's just used the feather. I've got to use that towards the end. I don't want to waste it. See, I catch back up-ish. But again, I've just stood up doing over 400 watts. And then I drop right down, well, to 60 odd there. I can't seem to get any more power through my legs. 175 beats per minute. That gives you an indication of what my heart's doing, obviously, but the level at which I'm committing to this climb. See, I've dropped the gears there. I just couldn't put in 12th and 13th gear at this gradient. I couldn't put the power through. I was dropping. I'm doing 92 RPM, so that's probably about right, 90 RPM in 11th. See all the riders in front. Currently 30th out of 101, so this into disaster, and we're miles ahead. Well, 12 seconds ahead of the group behind. But I'm really struggling here. I stood up and then I got back down. What a test. I've used the feather. Out of desperation, really. I'm just getting dropped. Everybody's completely split, but 409 calories done, 172 beats per minute. So I have pulled off slightly, pulled back slightly. Look, there's still, after this little recovery descent, there's still the final bit, which I don't reckon you can climb for the whole of that orange either. It's just too far to be put in full watts. So this long, gradual climb has really caught me out. It's not something I've experienced in the Fresh Outer series. Your climb distance is probably half and less gradual. See, I'm not putting any watts there on the blue. You know, I can't even do 200 watts there. I'm in the wrong gear. Averaging 271. Nearly 19 minutes done. 3.3 miles to go. Countryside tour. A tour. I wouldn't say that. It's blooming torture. Countryside torture. 3%, going up to 5%. Still finding something to get up out of the saddle, but I've been caught by Luxton there. Team GTR. Fair play. There we go. I'm back into 13th gear, trying to stand up as much as possible. So there's no way I'm giving up, but it's just disappointing to re-watch this and see what's happened. Because I've been climbing really well in December and November. So I was a bit surprised. Use the feather. The Swede there. Oh, dear me. Right, that's the last person that's gone. Yeah, this was it. Putting 400 odd watts in. That was the last person who's going to overtake me. The field is absolute split. There's some C riders, blue dots. Fair play, they've destroyed me on this climb. It's all been about this climb, and they've tactically committed. Right, this is where I didn't want. There's myself and Choi there. There's no way I was letting anybody. There's a Japanese rider behind, Takahashi, and more from Canada. There's no way they're catching up. And then there's 21, 22 seconds between the rest. So I'm currently 34th. I've got, once I start on the flat, I can start recovering a bit and pushing. And I'm going to push on this descent. I'm not just going to, which might help me catch. What have we got in front? 7 seconds, 10, 15 seconds. So the 15th and second, Luxton and Bobby too far ahead. If they're working on a descent together, with no chance. But I've got somebody to work with here. Choi, South Korean. But I'm not doing any watts here. Seven seconds ahead, well, 6 seconds ahead of the group behind. There's 3 riders behind. So hopefully I'll work with Chai on this descent. Push it through, still averaging 267, 2.5 miles to go. Pretty much all descending, but I'm going to stand up and put the gear up to 16th. Put 450 watts on the descent here. Got the aero, which I won't use until I'm about to sprint. No point using that. 3 riders are only 6 seconds behind. I need Chai to be working with me here to take a turn on the front. Now, it never bothers me because you don't know how tired the riders are to get to that position. So they might really need a break now. But I need, if there's any energy, work with me on here. Again, just putting these little bursts, standing up to pull Chai with me so we don't get caught by the 3 riders behind. 33rd out of 101. So I've no idea here. I know there's C riders and B ahead. So I've got an indication, but are the 5, 10, 15. I think there were 28 riders in my category that started off. The 350 to 520. But I've no idea how many are in front of me. 1.6 miles to go, 602 feet climbed. Cruising down this descent. Now there's a flat section, so I just get a bit of hydration. I need Chai to be working here. Let me have a little break. 8 seconds ahead of the 3 behind. Just push it. Just keep pushing it. 1.3 mile to go. Keep pushing on this flat section, and then it'll be difficult for them to break us on the descent, especially with 1.2 miles. I think we've got this in the bag almost. The rider in front, M.A. Diff and Smith, it's saying 0 seconds ahead. That's incorrect. 4 seconds and 7 seconds for T. Smith, the American. What's going on with the numbers on the right? Keep flitting between Smith. The numbers are knackered there on the right. Anyway, let it settle down. So Smith and Luxton, 6 or 7 seconds, 8 seconds. And I can see the rider ahead. You can see the 3 riders ahead, actually. So let's press on. 0.8 mile to go. 262 average, 508 calories done. Need to be doing more watts than this. 25 minutes completed. Joey's been happy to take my draft. Well, I've worked on that descent. I suspect Joey's probably a little tired and couldn't work in front. Having said that, just tried there. Let me have half a mile to go. Really catching that rider ahead, the Swede. Got it down to 2 seconds. Luxton and Smith are over. They're 10 seconds ahead. They've pushed it. 0.4 of a mile to go. I'd recovered a little bit so that I could put a sprint in. And I'm determined. I reckon Choi's nothing left. So I'm chasing down. I've used the aero boost. 900 feet to go. Stand up in a minute. There we go. 7.5 watts per kilo. 7.5. 540. I'm really chasing down. Great effort. Come on. Can I catch? Can I catch? Oh, did I finish 31st or 30th? Interesting. 7th in my category. Average 3.5 watts a kilo. 262 watts, which I'm very chuffed with. No, I didn't quite catch the Swede just in front. You can see he's 6th. 7th out of 28 I'm happy with. What have I got? No super figures there. What's the ZRS increase? That'll be interesting. It's given me +1, but you'll later see that I go up to 486. So I got +5. But if you liked, enjoyed, like and subscribe. Thank you.